If you're anything like me and regularly throw money at self-help books thinking they're the secret sauce to getting your sloppy hamburger of a life together, yeah, that's a weird reference, I'm sorry, then you probably know this cycle of behavior well. Step 1, feel like shit. Step 2, seek easy and instant answers to your difficult and long-term problems. Step 3, feel vaguely motivated by what you find. I will crush it. Step 4, soon realize you actually have no idea what the fuck that advice meant.
You need to hustle, crush it, and go big.
Those all kind of sound like the same thing.
Or that you're kind of terrified by Tony Robbins and his Matrix-style TV wall.
Give me a roar. That's the fucking roar! Give me a fucking roar!
But then of course that means that you're back at step 1. Such is the self-help cycle of doom. Sound familiar? I know. Bring it in. I've spun around this cycle a bunch, but I keep desperately tapping buy now on Amazon like it's a 1 AM slap on the pokies. Man, that reference would sound real obscure if you're not Australian. I do apologize.
What is slap a pokey?
Recently, I finished reading one of the few self-help books that didn't keep me trapped in this cycle of doom. A book that is low fluff, high substance, and relentlessly practical. The author is Cal Newport, and the book is so good they can't ignore you. Timely reference as it's almost 10 years to the exact day that this book was first published, which means theoretically we all could have got our shit together approximately 10 years ago. In this video, I'm going to do 3 things. First, quickly summarize the book's argument. Second, suggest why it stands head and shoulders above the wasteland of self-help garbage out there. And last, share how it's helping me out and might be able to help you out as well. So first, what this book? So Good They Can't Ignore You makes the case that your career is kind of fucked. Nah. Well, actually, yeah, it makes the case that the current modern day philosophy for building a meaningful, fulfilling career is broken. It's wrong. It doesn't deliver on its promise. And that promise is 3 words. Follow your passion. Newport argues that to follow one's passion cannot be universal advice. I mean, like sure, for the slim minority of us who for as long as we can remember always wanted to be X and that never wavered their entire lives, they were always just going to be X and they were forever happily ever after going to be X. Then great, good for you. Go fuck yourself, but good for you. But for the rest of us schmucks, follow your passion is lousy advice because it presupposes that you have a passion to begin with. As it turns out, most of us don't. And what's worse, it places career aspirations high on a pedestal.
You are putting the pussy up on this pedestal. You're just building the pussy up, man.
What are you even talking about?
To such lofty, unreachable heights that everything that doesn't reveal itself as the holy passion, whatever that is not good enough, encouraging an endless cycle of starting a new job, wondering why you're not instantly CEO, but then like not working the endless hours of a CEO because, you know, like mojitos on a beach and shit, and then leaving to what's next. It cultivates a chronic restlessness that only amplifies the very career anxieties it seeks to soften.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm putting the pussy up on a pedestal.
Right.
That's it. It's Pussalaya, right?
After dismantling Follow Your Passion, Newport then goes about putting in place a framework for how you might reconsider building a meaningful career. First, just start something. Take that job. Then adopt what he phrases as a craftsman mindset to identify rare and valuable skills central to that trade in an industry that rewards rare and valuable skills. Drop your ego and try to become as good as you possibly can be at that thing. Then, once you have built expertise, leverage that expertise to wrestle more and more control over the direction on what you do next. In short, become, in the words of the legendary comedian Steve Martin,
but I always say, be so good they can't ignore you.
He said it! Second, why this book good book? Unlike the vast majority of self-help shite that is out there, this book is so great because it is specific and practical. It dismantles cliched rhetoric. And that is to say that if your work-life strategy is to think you're automatically entitled to the career of your dreams and it's this thing out there just waiting to be found, then
you're gonna have a bad time.
You're not owed anything. There's no magical mindset shift that can fix things for you overnight. But there is still room for hope. If you're willing to be strategic, patient, and control only the things that you can control in front of you, proportionate to what you can actually offer the world right now, building, as he puts it, your career capital, then you give yourself every possible chance for success, whatever that word means to you. In other words, you build meaning. You don't hope to stumble upon it. This isn't a suck-up video though. I think the book could do a much better job at setting up how to begin this journey. Arguing that you should just kind of start a job, like any job that has commercial value, and become really good at that job feels unnecessarily impersonal. Instead, I think Newport would do better to not completely dispense with the idea of follow your passion, but carefully use it to say, if I had to take a best guess at what I'm interested in right now, what would that be? And then suggest some kind of routine system for checking in with yourself to see how that changes over time. Not obsessively on a daily basis like all of us wagey cucks do, but more calmly like once a quarter or half a year, something like that. I think it's fair to say that the biggest predicator for high quality work is not just someone's developed skill set, but their innate interest in that thing. The biggest energizing force there is. The human element cannot be ignored. So last then, what's in it for me? I found this book to be a nice little grounder. I'm definitely someone who has been caught up or swept up in the past with questions of, is this the career for me? What about other career options out there? Is this the right door to open? What about these other doors? And it's no surprise because the stakes of our life's work is a big question. But just like everything else about ourselves, we realistically have no idea who we are as a fixed long-term concept. Like, we change. Circumstances around us change. Taking the heat out of follow your passion cultivates balance and perspective. Play the cards we've been dealt with this hand, knowing it's up to us to improve our skill at the game as we go. And hey, if we learn to count cards along the way, then so what? So what if it's frowned upon?
It's also illegal.
It's not illegal, it's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.
Lastly, I appreciate how this book lays out a process for what to do. Self-help books often love to boast about the finished product and then peace out. But some of these details are important and aren't necessarily obvious, and Newport does a good job at laying them out. For example, why accepting a promotion might be more of a trap than an opportunity, when to know how much career capital you've built up before taking that next step, and how to incrementally take little bets when exploring new, riskier work goals. I'll leave that detail to you. It's a top read, I highly recommend it. He's also recently, Cal entered into the world of YouTube. Like when he talks on video down the camera, to me, it feels kind of intense, as if he's trying to say like, I have become so good
and I will not be ignored.
But hey, I'll take that over
here in my garage. Just bought this new Lamborghini here.
Any day. I'll link it below in the description. Have a read if you want or not. You're probably watching this right now while sitting on the toilet. Good for you, mate. Chat to you guys soon. Bye-bye.